How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy King Calf, and we're here with another review. This one's gonna be on the first Berserker Khazan game that I was pretty hyped to play, and I just finished it, went through it, and man, do I have a lot to say about this game because this was a pleasant surprise. And as always, if you like the content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment. We'll chat in the comment section below. I always respond to everybody. And let's get into my review of the first Berserker. So, I played this game when that random demo dropped. I had no idea this game was even existing. I'm not really big in the DNF, I guess, fan base. I did play DNF Fighter, or whatever that game was called. I did play that with my buddy just because I am really involved in the fighting game community, and it was good. I had no idea who the characters were. So I was actually pleasantly surprised that this is going to be on the Berserker character, or this is the first Berserker. I'm not sure if they're the same character or not, but seeing some backstory, seeing a little bit of the world. I know Dungeon Fighter Online is massive, but I never really got into it. I only really played MapleStory from Nexon, and if you played MapleStory, leave a comment below because that was the shit back in the day. But I'm getting off topic. I'm always into the Souls games, those Souls-like games, especially the good ones like Lies of P, Stellar Blade, Neo 2. I'm really into those games, and of course I'm also into the From Software ones as well. They pioneered this entire genre. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing better than a good Souls-like game, and I feel like the first Berserker isn't just like your ordinary one. It also has like the flashiness of something like DMC a little bit, but with a little bit of Stellar Blade as well. And it was just a really pleasant experience I found with this game. So you play as the titular character Khazan. He is the first Berserker. At the beginning you're betrayed by the Emperor, sent to death, having all your tendons cut so you can't fight back, and then a Blade Phantom takes over your body, and you have to strike a deal with it so that it can give you the power for your revenge, and also you can help the Blade Phantom with whatever it's trying to get done. I'm not going to spoil the story. I do feel the story is pretty minimal in this game, but there are some twists and turns, and if you're in that DNF fan base, definitely there's going to be some callbacks and some settings that I'm not going to spoil for you, but I'm sure there are a lot of things that would be appreciated by the fans. I'm not going to spoil too much, but that is the gist of the story. Nothing crazy. It's more of like your cliche revenge tale, but again, I think how the cutscenes look, the acting, the presentation, the settings that you go through kept me engaged enough where I understood what was going on. I enjoyed the characters, and I walked away from this story pleasantly satisfied. I mean, I think it did the job, and the story's very much told to you. You don't have to dig too deep into finding things, which I'm sure that if you did, there would be some callbacks and some cool things that I missed completely. But for the most part, if you're just looking for a game just to go through the story A to B, you're definitely not going to be confused, and I think it definitely does the job with it. And I really like the voice acting. We got the guy who played Clive in Final Fantasy 16 for the English dub. I didn't play any other language. I only played the English dub, so I can't comment on the other ones, but I think that the voices were fine. There's no corny. Sometimes I feel like in these kind of Eastern dub games, sometimes the dialogue and sometimes the voice acting can be corny. Didn't find that here. I think everybody was definitely doing their job. I definitely think that there was a lack of direction for some people, but it wasn't enough to hinder the experience. So I think that the voice acting was great, and the guy who plays Khazan, who played Clive, is amazing. I think that he is a great voice actor. It's just like smooth butter every time he talks, and there's no different when in this character as Khazan. And surprisingly, there's some pretty epic music, like during the boss fights, and which we will get to later. But some of the music, either in the levels or in the cutscenes or in the boss fights, are pretty epic. So I was actually surprised of how amazing the music is, because I'm really big on music in games or just in media in general. I think music really does sell the atmosphere and the stakes and the issues that are happening in the story. And I think that they did a great job with the music in this game. I think music is a really big reason why I love Final Fantasy, just because their music is just chef's kiss. But yeah, I think just the production for this game is amazing. How the game looks, I love the art style. I definitely think it helps put the first Berserker in a different category. It lets it stand out on its own. It's not going for hyper realistic graphics. It's going more for, you know, that anime cel shaded look, and I think it really does benefit how the game looks, how the cutscenes look, how the character designs look. I really am digging the art style for this game, and I think that was initially what got me interested to even try the demo, was the art style. But yeah, everything about how this game looks, sounds, feels is just top notch. But let me tell you what is the toppest of that notch, and that is the gameplay. Yo, the combat in this game is phenomenal. It again is a Souls-like. You know, you're ducking, you're dodging, you're weaving, you're blocking. They have a parry system in this game, and I think that the parry system is really well done. You know, with the parry system in the games, if you have a deflect or parry, you have to have that satisfying sound and animation, and I think that's what really does sell the impact and like the skill that's being used to deflect these moves. And I think it looks great in this game. It's nowhere near as good as Sekiro. I think Sekiro is definitely in its own league in terms of like deflecting gameplay, but this game is excellent. How it looks, how it sounds, very crunchy. You know, the weapons sound like you're tearing through flesh, or you're smacking someone with something. So it's always a plus. You know, the enemy designs are great, the level designs are great, but the combat is just where everything shines. I think the stamina system, although I do have a little bit of issues with it, I think it really does help strategize how you're going to play with your character, when to use your spirit attacks to save on stamina, but also keep the pressure up to break the enemy stance, you know, when to dodge instead of blocking so you don't get hit with certain ailments or any like negative things from the enemies. All of that is always just churning your brain, and you have to constantly think about, do I duck, do I block, do I back up, do I heal? And I just love that in this genre, because when you make the player think a million different thoughts of how they want to deal with the incoming threats, in that moment is really when this genre thrives. And I think the first Berserker is just no different with that. And again, there's a lot of different enemy types. There's flying enemies, there's like zombies, there's skulls, there's soldiers, bandits, like sick bandits. There's all of these different enemies. There's just weird ass creatures as well, and it really does keep things fresh. You know, you will be seeing a lot of the same enemies in some levels, but I think that when you're going from level to level or from world to world, you really do see a wide variety of different enemies. And then they also have like special enemies that have like ailments combined with them, and they're harder and they don't respawn. So yeah, there's a lot of things that keep this game fresh. The level design is great too. It's your classic, you know, Souls-like, where you have like a bonfire-ish that's like this sword that you use. You walk around, you find shortcuts to go to the nearest sword to like regain all your potions and heal yourself and save it. You know, there's a bunch of secrets when you're looking through in collectibles, and there's alternate paths. They didn't go for the open world design, which I think really did help. They more went with the Neo 2 approach, where you're going to different levels and you're taking side quests for those levels, and then you're in different areas and fighting bosses at the end. And I think it really does help this game. I think if they went more the open world route, I think it would have been a little too cluttered, especially for Nexon's first attempt on this kind of genre, like this triple double A kind of style single player game. So I think that the biome level approach really does complement this game. And yeah, you have 3 different weapon types. You use a great sword, your axe and your sword, which is what you start with, and the spear. I use the spear just because the spear is really flashy. It's all about breaking, you know, the stamina bar from the enemy, and I just really did like that. Definitely, there are some times where the stamina management can become a little bit a lot, because when you block, you still lose stamina, especially if you retaliate after, and then if you get hit, you lose stamina. So you really have to make sure you're careful with your stamina, because you don't just like stop what you're doing. You're pretty much dazed if you get hit with no stamina, and then the enemy can like finish you off with a move or like do all of your health. So I definitely think that this game would have benefited from having something like Neo, where they have like that burst mechanic where if you use your stamina and you burst properly, you get your stamina back. I think that this game definitely could have benefited from that system or something similar. But yeah, the gameplay in this game is just top notch, and what's even better is the boss fights. So the boss fights range from wild to insane. I mean, there are great boss fights. There's a couple stinkers, but a lot of the boss fights have great arenas. They're fair. There's no like crazy elevations to like kind of piss off the player. They're all just fair arenas. You know, the enemy or the bosses have like different attacks. They have stages. They have grapples. You know, great music to sell that atmosphere, and they're just balls difficult. I mean, there's a lot of bosses that really wrecked my day for hours, and I had to keep trying and learn their moveset, learn when to block, learn when to parry, learn when to dodge, and learn when to go on the attack and when to stop attacking so that I can get my stamina back. And eventually, like, there's nothing more satisfying with these games when you're getting your ass handed to you for hours, and then that one time you go back to that boss and you pretty much have like a perfect run. You hardly get hit. You use like one potion and the enemy is just completely decimated. Nothing better and more satisfying, in my opinion, in gaming than that feeling. And this game has so many of those moments. Can't do shit. It's over. It's over. You're done. I told you I was gonna be locked in for that. Dude, I crushed her. Watch there be a second phase. The game is very difficult. I definitely don't think it's one of the hardest Souls-like games. Like, I know people were trying to say that, but I didn't think so. Maybe if there's a harder difficulty in New Game Plus, maybe. But for the first playthrough, yeah, I got my ass handed to me, but I was handling some ass too, you know, like I was doing really well. I definitely think this game does suffer from an easy level difficult boss, which is good because I think it humbles the player. You think that you finally understand everything, you're wrecking the entire level, you're hardly getting hit, you're getting all the items, and then you go to the boss and you just get humbled. So I think it does give that nice middle ground of letting the players feel like they're getting stronger, they're getting better, but not too strong, because there's still a hard-ass boss around the corner. And I think that they meet that really well. A lot of Souls like have that difficult middle ground, I feel, in that kind of aspect, and I think this game nailed it. And you know, you're leveling up the same, you're going to like your bonfire-esque thing, you're putting, you know, points in your attributes. There's a whole skill tree for every weapon, and then like your character, you get like a transformation later on in the game that you can level up as well. You get phantoms that can help you with like your side kind of like passive abilities. You can get the secret like red orb things that can level up certain aspects of your character to get like more points or more health recovery. There's a lot of customization. The game is very loot based, which I sometimes don't like. I definitely feel like the crafting system in this game is kind of pointless, because every time I'd craft something, the next enemy I kill, I find a better weapon or better armor set than what I had previously. What I do like though is that you are encouraged to wear sets. So there's a lot of items that have like different passives for if you wear the helmet of that set or the weapon of that set or like the legs, and each item will get you more passives, and like the last passive is like a crazy ability. I really do like that because it kind of incentivizes you to not just jump on the newest piece of armor or weapon that you got and think about, okay, if I go to this new weapon, what passives am I losing? Am I losing anything that's going to, you know, kind of ruin my stamina or my health or my damage overall? And all of those things are kind of in your head, which I really do respect, because it did definitely keep me from just, oh, new loot used, oh, new loot used. So I think that that was a good way to do it, but I do wish that there was a little bit less emphasizing the loot. I just constantly felt like every time I was killing something, I'd get a piece of loot and I'd have to look in my inventory and just go back and forth. And, you know, I had to force myself to be like, I'll look after the level. And then sometimes I'll find a weapon or piece of armor that I could really use in that boss fight. So Yeah, I think maybe in the future games, if they do have a sequel, I definitely want them to kind of chill on the loot. Maybe get like really good loot after bosses or like secrets, you know, like just in. I wouldn't mind if it was just in chests and bosses where you got loot rather than like every enemy is dropping something. So maybe for the next game, I really definitely hope we do get another game with them. I hope this game does so well so we can get sequels, because this was their first attempt, and in my opinion, they nailed it. So I can only imagine if they have like future iterations and they can build upon what they have here. Maybe give us like a Hitman one or a fighter one. You know what I mean? Like the different characters in DNF that could get some sort of game. I would love to see that. But let's hope. You know, like I think that this was an amazing first attempt at the genre for Nexon, and I just hope to see more from them. But yeah, this game was a pleasant surprise. This is definitely in my top 10 of 2025. I know the list is kind of bare at the moment, but these are those kind of games that are like sleeper gems that in a couple of years you're gonna look back at games where you're like, oh, what, the first Berserker is on sale on Steam for $10. I'm gonna snag that because I heard so many good things. Or, you know, when you're looking back at 10 years of games that were fun, this should be in the conversation. And I definitely don't want to forget about this game with this list. I know that we do have some big games coming out later, but I cannot see this game not being on my list just because of how much fun I'm having. I just beat it. I'm going to start playthrough 2 pretty soon, just because I heard the second playthrough is like all legendary gear and there's like crazy shit that you can get. So I'm excited for that. And, you know, if I missed out on anything, I'm definitely going to do those. But yeah, the first Berserker, highly recommend. There's a free demo on Steam and on consoles. If you are looking for a new game to maybe try and you're not sure how you feel, try out the demo. It's free. I love when developers are giving us free demos because they allow players to try the product to see if it's for them, because we don't rent anymore. So it really allows players to see if this is for them. And yeah, it's totally free. Highly recommend it. And the progress from the demo carries to the main game. So I don't see any negatives with that. And just a little housekeeping, I did play this game on PC. I did upgrade to a 5090. Say what you want in the comments about that. I don't care. I'm enjoying my 5090. The game ran buttery smooth. I was maxing out my screen at all times at a 240 FPS, 4K, all that stuff. I was staying with that. Had DLSS on, of course, and I didn't run into any bugs. There was a couple of like bugs during cutscenes where like my hood was hiding my hair or whatever. And one time where I got stuck in the ground and I had to restart. And this game isn't like the FromSoft games where if you quit, you are right back where you were, where you quit. You are at the last bonfire you went to. So that was a little bit of a piss off, but other than that, I had flawless performance, and this game is well optimized on PC, and that is something in 2025 because we get shitty ports and optimization on PC, and this one ran, I'd say, 99% perfectly. So if you're looking for a PC game, that's a plus for me as well. But that's gonna do it here, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video. Also appreciate the laughing comments on my previous video. Yeah, I tried to finish Assassin's Creed Shadows. I literally quit pretty shortly after I made that video. I was kind of done with it. I canceled my Ubisoft Connect account right after too. I can't get into it. It's a pretty game, but if you're gonna play an ancient feudal Japan samurai game, go play Ghost of Tsushima. It's usually cheaper than Shadows, and the sequel's coming out that looks kind of fire. Say what you want, but I think it looks good. I'm excited for it, so I'd rather just play that. That's it. Thank you so much, everyone. If you like what you see, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, share with your friends, leave a comment. Let me know if you tried the first Berserker, if you're thinking about it. Are you still playing Shadows? Let me know how that's going, or whatever else you're playing. If you want to talk, leave a comment below. I'll always respond. And until then, guys, new video will be dropping shortly. I do have another game that I'm currently playing that I will share a review on, and we'll see how that goes. But until then, KingCaf signing out. Thank you so much, everyone. Peace.